Okay, this is Oleg Deripaska. You know him well now. It's better to know about these people before Tom Cotton says their name, because then you know when they say their name, you can feel the lead balloon inside the Senate Intel meeting. Oleg Deripaska is obviously this guy with the yachts, and he's got the girls that are escort services, etc., coming out there, the cameras. Hey, Mr. Defense Minister of NATO, you're from, let's say, oh gosh, Germany. Why were you in Norway at Oleg Deripaska's place? Why did you land on his private plane? Why did you buy the Lockheed system or the Northrop Grumman system versus the surveillance system or whatever made right here in the Netherlands? Oh, you weren't there? Well, gee whiz, there's a film of you with a prostitute, or not a prostitute, an escort, up on this boat. It says Eldon, which is a swizzle of the word devil, right? I mean, I think you were there, Mr. Defense Minister. And this is where I was always going with the NATO generals. Okay, so now the NATO generals are going to get a cut, right? And now you're going to push it through somebody like a Paul Manafort. You're going to invest it and so forth. Now, Paul Manafort doesn't know that this is dirty money, right? He's just saying, hey, Oleg, you got another $100 million for me to invest? I'll put it through software companies in Cyprus. There's this guy named Gooby Gooby Goo. There's this guy named Gubarov who wants to make a game called Prism. He wants to make a thing where you can make all your photos look like they were Van Gogh's. Let's invest that for you. And, oh, by the way, if we do invest $20 million from whatever NATO general we're talking about, right, we're going to be able to get 40 EB5s. Hey, John Podesta, here's 40 EB5s. Do whatever you want with those down at the Ukrainian embassy. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of young Ukrainian girls that want to come over and start their modeling career. So I'm trying to introduce all this as one thing. Okay, now John McCain is also going to be involved in this story. John McCain is going to meet Oleg Deripaska at that place that I talked to you about in Montenegro. He's going to meet him with Lord Mandelson and this guy named George Osborne, and they're going to have this meeting over there to celebrate John McCain's 70th anniversary. Not on the small yacht, not on the Eldon, but this on the Queen K. He's going to upgrade. So I just want everybody to start thinking about John McCain in a slightly different way, that he could have been Navy intel. He might not have just been a pilot. He might have had more of an intel job. Maybe that's why he crashed 5 planes. He wasn't such a good pilot. Maybe he was more of an intel operations guy, okay, to keep the war going on, you know, because we were making a lot of money in the drug business with those GIs getting hooked on heroin. Just open up your mind to the idea of Operation Duck Soup and how much money it meant for the FBI, for, let's say, a Kissinger, to keep that war going and keep those Hmong people bringing that heroin over to get GIs infected. Isn't that exactly what's happening now? Isn't that exactly the same thing? They just moved Operation Duck Soup to Ohio, right? It's Central Ohio. Isn't that exactly what happened? Okay, so that's what I'm trying to go with these things, because this is what really happened. Now, last night I published this picture of this law firm that Rostova, the person I thought might have died in that plane, and I published this picture of her partner named Westerman, close to Wasserman, but not Wasserman, it's Westerman. And then I started looking at some of the other folks in this, and this kind of Russia connection. So, I just keep everybody in the back of your mind that there could be a Russia connection to that law firm down there and the EB5 business. Now, I'm not saying that they're involved in that, but you start looking at different people that are connected. This guy named Andre. And then when I see something like this, which is Dietrich, I start thinking, well, is that Fort Detrick in Maryland? Fort Detrick? Anyway, this is a person that's connected. I'll just say that this is a connected person at this point. We'll connect the dots on this later. Then I start seeing these Teamsters being involved in this situation, which is more SEIU type stuff, and this Project Sapphire, right? And this missing uranium. And there's this guy that knows Debbie Wasserman Schultz that somehow has written about this missing uranium. And he also knows Mark Lambert of logistics, of transport logistics. And they're also associated with the Teamsters. Just weird. And he also lives over by Laurel Park, but he also commutes quite a bit to Hollywood, Florida. Hollywood, Florida, the racetrack is called Gulfstream Park. That's where our friend was trying to sell condos. That's where our Sergey Millian was trying to sell condos. Well, the company that owns Hollywood Gulfstream Park also owns Laurel Park, the racetrack. And guess what the guy's name is? The guy's name is Dossier. Mike Dossier is the guy who wrote the uranium thing. You know, it feels a little bit like Chinatown. It's like who is this Russian? And who is the Russian link to Mike Dossier? Who the heck is Mike Dossier? Right? So sometimes when new entities come along, you just have to kind of introduce them, make some jokes every once in a while. Hey, Mike, can you bring over the dossiers on all those slave girls over to Laurel Park at the racetrack? You know, it's over by the Navy Captains LLCs sold here and in between the Get Your Hot EB5 sign, right over there. Can we meet over there? Can we meet out there? Now, I don't know if he's involved in any of this, but I thought, hey, that'd be a fun little joke to say. So if you're not, but then always bring in the facts, you know, always bring in past pattern and practice. This is the Project Sapphire, and this is about moving uranium, highly enriched, in 1994, from Kazakhstan to Oak Ridge, Tennessee. So I've speculated before that the uranium ended up in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and now here's an article which basically states that. So I'll just show here that 600 tons of HEU was moved from this place called Kamenogorsk, Ust-Kamenogorsk, okay? And it moved to Oak Ridge, Tennessee by way of Dover Air Force Base. Well, how did it get from Dover Air Force Base to Oak Ridge, Tennessee? Did Mark Lambert of TLI, Transport Logistics Shipping and Transport Logistics Trucking, take it there? It's going to be a good question to ask. There's going to be Department of Energy documentation that's going to show this November 22nd, Kennedy, the day Kennedy's killed, right, in 1994, it goes into storage at Oak Ridge. This is going to become important because new START talks are coming up. This is the treaty talks, and you have to do nuclear inventories and allow inspections, okay? And it ends February 5th, 2018. So maybe Trump knows that, maybe he doesn't. Maybe they're hiding it from him. But anyway, so I just want people to start opening their minds to the fact that this could have been a person, McCain, involved in this kind of drug trade from Vietnam. And what we've seen ever since then, with all the conflicts in the Middle East and all the conflicts now, and with all the folks going to Europe and gangs going to Europe, as kind of a Navy intel PSYOP, not PSYOP, but a Navy intel operations to bring gangs for security to your neighborhood. But comes along with that is a bunch of SEI union guys to make sure that the drugs get from point A to point B under the cover of uranium, under the cover of something that, or chemical weapons or something like that. So, if you had a service that was created in 1989 called SES, could you develop a bunch of executives in the Five Eyes countries, like Canada, let's say, and then come in and give them an impressive resume and say, oh, by the way, here's an impressive candidate. He's had 20 years in the defense industry in NATO. We're going to put him over the top of you here at DEA, you career professional who's done investigations here in Virginia for 20 years. We're going to put him over the top of you over here in ATF that's been doing the Southwest, patrolling the Southwest in California, San Bernardino, etc. We're going to put those execs in over you because they're our SEIU guys, right? And we're going to put them in, and we're going to establish these rat lines, okay? So I'm just trying to drill down on how the rat lines actually are established from SEIU and SES, okay? And finally, I'll just say, here's pay to play, and it's carrot and stick, okay? Carrot is you get the money, Paul Manafort, puts it through, you get your EB5s, you get your Navy captain, LLCs, everybody's happy. But sometimes people don't play ball. Let's say you invited them all from, let's say, the town of Orsk, and you invited the local businessman from the Central Market, and you invited the head of the city's finance, and then you invited all the different people that worked in the petrochemical yard, and you even invited the guy who was doing the fracking. And you presented estimates of what the deal was going to be, and you said, look, guys, come on, Orsk, guys, you get 60%. And they go, wait a minute, it's our oil, we're paying for the fracking, I'm the investor. I'm the local city finance manager. I'm investing. I'm the city central market. I've been here for 30 years. This is our stuff. Okay? Well, we're not going to sell out for 60%. We want 80%. All right, well, why don't you guys all get on the plane, and then we'll think about it. Okay? Why don't you guys all get on the plane? Yep. Just get on the plane. Yeah. Move on. Get on the plane. We'll think about it while you guys are gone. We'll think about it. So I just want to, just think about the fact that it could be a Rockefeller dirty tricks thing, and just leave your mind open to that. And finally, I'll end up on this, the nuclear deal, and then this, John Kerry's daughter marries this Iranian doctor, and she's a doctor as well, okay? And here's this guy kind of hanging around by the punch bowl, and he's talking about nuclear science, and he knows a lot. He knows a lot about that Gulf Tanner deal. He seems like he's an expert. He knows all about the shipping and UAE and the whole Iran deal, nuclear, and all the centrifuges and the fast breeder reactors. He's talking nukes, nukes, nukes. Nobody wants to go near him, near the punch bowl, right? Well, it turns out he's related to John Kerry's daughter. Would that mean that all the BlackBerry negotiations going back and forth between John Kerry and all the John and Victoria Nuland and so forth, and this guy, would that mean it would be all privileged communication, that you wouldn't have to testify against your relatives? Maybe, who knows? Who knows? I'm just going to say that these rat lines follow the same patterns over and over again. Victoria Nuland, Sid Blumenthal, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, information coming from the State Department, possibly through Huma, to Hillary, have to find a way out, right? Have to find a logical way out. So maybe that's Nuland, parallel construction, maybe that's Nuland and John Kerry. Who knows? Who knows if Hillary was involved in the negotiating the Iranian nuclear deal? Until we see the text messages, until we see the BlackBerries, until we see the Awan server, we're not going to know. Just some thoughts, develop some ideas as we move forward through the rest of the day.